yeah, got me thinking I might start with her as my first playthrough. Um, I feel like I said that about Amon too, but like I've just been seeing so much more about Harlow lately, and maybe it's just recency bias, but mm, let's see. Um, one more thing I wanted to take a look at was the Beyond Borderlands number 9, Harlow's ability breakdown.
My favorite character in Borderlands 4 is Harlow. Just the moment I saw her concept, I knew I was going to love this character and love building her. She's kind of super friendly and happy to be there and do science for you. She uses science to just blow all of the enemies out of the water.
Okay, I can appreciate that. Cosmic Brilliance Flux
Harlow's
Generator.
Cosmic Brilliance tree is all about affecting the battlefield with her Flux Generator. This action skill throws her Flux Generator into the environment, and any enemies inside of it become automatically entangled, sharing all damage they take, dealing constant cryo damage to everything inside of it. Additionally, Harlow and her allies get Overshield while they're inside of it, so it's something
I didn't know
players
that.
can use offensively or defensively.
So what makes Harlow's Flux
I knew
Generator
she had a
feel
lot of
particularly
AoE,
awesome
but-
is that sense of battlefield control in that you get to just throw something down, dish out extra battlefield damage, but also the generator itself gives you an ability to provide some ally support, both for yourself and your buddies that you're playing with. And this is my personal favorite. You can have it so that enemies that are within the vicinity of it completely lose all of their elemental resistances, so being able to just be like, I don't want to deal with it. And then also getting a buff to your own status effect application, really nice to kind of try and melt them down.
I like that.
Harlow's Chroma Accelerator is her giant nuke action skill. This is her boss killer. This is the one where she fires a slow-moving projectile that moves through the environment, and then she can detonate it to make a giant radiation explosion. Harlow's creative burst skill tree is all
gotta
about
love
using
it.
her Chroma Accelerator to deal insane amounts of action skill damage. She has one skill, Cue Ball, that turns her Chroma Accelerator into this bouncing ball that just bounces all over the environment, entangling enemies everywhere it touches and just dealing massive damage everywhere, along with freezing enemies in its path.
There's lots of little
Interesting.
things in there that will augment them and change the way that they behave in some capacity. So like you'll have one that makes it so that as it passes through enemies, it'll actually drag them along behind it, which is kind of neat. You can have it where you can extend its duration through causing radiation damage. It'll also allow you to buff your gun. You can get faster refunds so that you can use it more often as well.
Ooh, okay. 0 point.
Harlow's Seize the Day skill tree is all about using 0 point to control the battlefield. It can do everything from making massive singularities to draw all the enemies together, to slamming enemies down and creating giant cryo explosions to freeze enemies, or it can even slow down enemies as you critical hit them. Harlow's action skill 0 point is where she can bubble an enemy up into the air. She can slam them into exploding barrels to cause big explosions, or she can throw them into other enemies and just cause general chaos.
For Harlow Seize the Day, this really focuses in on her
she's
stasis.
just-
Augments that you can expect to find in here
she's
will allow
using
you
you
to
to beat
do
your
things
friends
like
up.
ricochet shots off to other enemies that aren't in stasis. You can store damage, and whenever it's ready, it'll pop off a cryo explosion, things
Store
like that. You can also
damage?
have it use healing bursts, which is great both for your own survivability or when you're playing with friends, keeping them up. One thing that I particularly think is really cool about it is when you kill an enemy, it will continue to bounce around to other enemies in the area. This does make it so that the duration on each of those bounces is a little bit shorter, but it's still really cool to see it bounce around and like capture enemies and keep that effect going.
I feel like every time we make a player character, there's always something we have to leave behind that sticks with me and I want to bring into future games. In Borderlands 3, I had to design an Amara skill to where she runs up, puts an enemy in phase grasp, and then kicks them into other enemies. We couldn't really do that in Borderlands 3, but with Borderlands 4, we get to do that with Harlow, where she can pick up enemies and start flinging them into other enemies. I love that she has this giant disco ball of doom that she can send out into a battlefield and just nuke everything. I love that she has the flux generator that she can throw on the ground and either help her allies or debuff all the enemies. And I love her skill where she can bubble enemies into the air and then start slamming them into other enemies. That's something I've always wanted to make a character do in the Borderlands universe, and I finally get to.
So satisfying.
It looks satisfying, Harlow. I honestly can't wait. I can't wait. She looks like so much fun. just being able to just say, "Hey, you're no longer part of this fight. You float there for a second." I also particularly appreciate her sustainability. She can keep herself healthy with a bunch of different self-healing skills, skills that heal others, just constant buffing yourself and debuffing others while taking people out of the fight. Absolutely my favorite way to play. Particularly the debuffing part. I love that. I love that. Not don't necessarily need to get into like critical art trees and making things uh big number. We can just make things weaker. Yeah, just sap a little bit of that strength. I want that. I want that strength over here. Let me take that. But yeah, that's Harlow's ability breakdown. Of course, I have to give him a little bit of a like there. That's very helpful for me making my choice in the future. Moving right along from left to right, we got Lasso aside, the weapons trailer. I've been seeing all sorts of stuff for this game for ages. Ages. They've been talking about Lost Soul Aside. I'm fairly certain this was a game that initially started as a one-person project, and then it turned into, hey, Sony's interested in that game you got there, and it exploded into this big old project that Sony's just dumping more money into. Um, from the looks of it, it's coming out fairly soon, and I would be lying if I'm saying I'm not interested. I wanna see what's going on. One thing I didn't quite know was that it would be a game that had more than one weapon. I did see it as a uh, kind of a character action game. Character action being kind of a weird sort of amalgam of different things, but basically one of those games that is about the spectacle of this character fighting and putting more and more skill into extending combos and kind of doing your best to make the uh, combo counter go up and do it more stylishly with each run. I love games like that. Devil May Cry, Bayonetta, um, to a lesser extent, Near Automata, that was more of a RPG, but still a lot of the same kind of mechanics. So yeah, looking at Lost Soul aside here, I want to make sure we are taking a quick peek at that. Want to get an idea of what we're working with.
Let me be your vengeance. The blade in your hand.
Okay. Still, definitely giving me that Devil May Cry vibe. I just realized how loud it is. Yeah, this is Great Sword looking very just I'm interested. Pole Blade. Pole Blade looks versatile. Like, oh, we getting the scythe too. Very definitely seeing a lot of Devil May Cry influence here. Okay. Okay. I like that. The the slow-mo weapon switch. Mmm. Okay. Yeah, that game is coming out this week, very, very soon. So, yeah, absolutely keeping an eye on that. Probably not gonna get it immediately. Just, you know, just wanna make sure I'm spending my money on the games I'm very excited about, and that's definitely gonna be Borderlands. It's not that far away. Want to keep my want to save my money for that particular experience. But yeah, that was Lost Soul aside, the weapons trailer. They definitely have my attention as far as what the action is going to look like. Again, very Devil May Cry, very energetic, and just fully embracing the just spectacle part uh, of the character action genre. Right? There's a real visceral energy you get from this this character being as fast and as powerful as he looks. And that's being put into your hands. That's the whole idea behind that kind of genre, and this one absolutely gives the right sort of energy there. But yeah, so we are moving right along to a game I saw. I was kind of interested in it just based on the name alone, um, but not entirely sure what it's about, honestly. It looks interesting. So let's look at the Better Than Dead announcement. This is on IGN.
They left her for dead. That was their first mistake.
Interesting. Okay. So I'm getting some John Woo vibes here. Like, I don't know if you know about the movie Hard Boiled,
Erase them.
but yeah, yeah. But it's
They'll hear her coming.
absolutely in that style, in the style of uh, Ready or Not.
One gun.
Very like hyper realistic. Though the the character models are definitely still giving video game. This yeah, this game is very I think one of the really key aspects of what we're looking at here is just the graphical fidelity of the environments. What just walking into all these environments and be like, "Oh, this looks very realistic." Like look at the city.
She's not here.
It looks very realistic. So, yeah, I am I am curious what the actual story here is,
Smile for the camera.
because the a game like that is interesting, but is it so interesting that it can carry itself with just the images and or the graphical strength alone? I don't know. Honestly, I have my doubts.